is restrictions on cannabis. Am I wrong?
Well, but
And I love your tie.
it's probably, thank you, it's probably part of the future though. It's gonna be legalized.
And that's why it even makes less sense to put in restrictions and to pretend. I'm actually just really furious at Supervisor Avalos for some of his discriminatory remarks, saying that we brought a negative element, that we make people uneasy. Those are all discrimination, you know, and it's just not true, because every time a medical cannabis collective has opened in a neighborhood, public safety increases, foot traffic to the neighborhood businesses increases.
And crime goes, what crime there is goes down.
Yeah, I know I've written about the police chief in the town of Sebastopol,
Oh,
Jeff Weaver,
yeah.
and where they have a dispensary, and they also have a pretty well-known pot doc, as I call it. He has 1,900 patients, that is all recommended. So Jeff Weaver has told me that he gets police chiefs from all over California calling him and saying, well, did crime go up after the dispensary came alive? And he says, no, we have had no, he says, we have no crime increase, even less litter on the street, he says.
And that's what I'm talking about. So for somebody like Avalos, who is the champion of the progressives, to go backwards and say that we're a negative element and we put people at unease, what unease?
Yeah,
I think he sat on the couch in his neighborhood with too many of them ladies that sit there and go, bah, bah,
No,
bah,
he's
bah."
organizing.
That's what I'm trying to say, though. He's sitting in them rooms listening to that stuff so long that he's starting to believe it or something.
No, he's a hypocrite. I
Just
believe
so
that he's
you
a
know,
medical
That's
cannabis
going to
user.
That could be.
There's going to be testing, ways to
Yes,
test
Bob.
people for driving. That's going to happen probably.
And that's probably something that is in the future, because, you know, and like the same laws can apply. You know, if you're recklessly driving, you're recklessly driving. It really truly doesn't matter what influence you're under. If you're recklessly driving, you need to be pulled over.
Absolutely.
Or on an iPhone.
You know, there's no excuse for being irresponsible in a vehicle.
There's just no excuse.
Yes, so,
And cannabis patients have been proven to be better on the road.
Yes,
that's true, yes. I once did an experiment on myself.
Don't you love those? Those are the best experiments.
You know, and, you know, I smoked every day, all day for 30 days, and recorded everything that was happening to me. You know, I checked my pulse, my appetite, my sex drive, it was hard work to record everything.
Yeah.
But the driving, I had no trouble driving at all.
Most people don't, you know, and for the
Seven
rare
joints
people
to
that
get to Humboldt
do.
and 7 to get back.
The one thing that they talk about, the strength of the medicine now as compared to, and that's only half true. I mean, I've been smoking since the 60s.
Okay, we've got Tony Bowles from ASA checking in
We had
here.
medicine as strong as we do now, but it was specialized and you had to pay extra and had to go to somebody. Then in the 70s, medicine, pretty green buds of medicine just like we have now. If you knew the right person, was totally available at strengths we have now. The person who's a novice or a weekend toker definitely doesn't have the buildup in their system, they have the tolerance.
So guys, I'm gonna start, just because we just got a text from ASA SF with their position, which is, ooh, can you throw me one of those candies? No, that's not the position. I would love a candy.
Well, I have to go back to this wedding that I'm attending.
Well, mazel tov on the wedding.
Not me, I'm a friend of mine getting married.
Oh, not you.
You're the one marrying them, right? What are you doing here?
So our next meeting will be November 11th at noon, and President of the Board, David Chu, will be joining us. So if you feel like coming by, please do. I'm Jennifer, by the way. I don't think we've met. Hi. Nice to meet you, Jennifer.
Hi, I'm John also.
John, yes, good luck with everything.
Thank you.
How are you doing? You're the attorney, right?
Yeah, one of them. None of them. So we got a few more people on the way, but I'm just gonna start because we only have the room until 1 o'clock. We can probably go a little bit over, seeing as this is our community and everybody's late. So Tony who's the chief of ASA SF, says, sorry, couldn't make it. Here's ASA SF's position. We oppose restrictions. Let's keep asking for the green zone review before we move forward on restrictions. We want to have Avalos persuade other supervisors to open the green zone. A good point to make is the thing we overheard again at the hearing, even from Excelsior Action Group, was open the green zone, so let's focus on that, or else I feel we're putting the cart before the horse. Well, I think we're all in agreement on that. I don't know about making Avalos our champion to go to the other folks.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
And I don't know why that's their angle.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to kind of get from people is if we could do, so Access of Love's position is a little bit more vigorous than that.
Yeah.
I did make a petition for us that will start this evening at 4:20 in front of our clubhouse. We'll put out a table and start our thing. But one thing I'm thinking that we need to do along with making our supervised visual visits, Mike Goldman, I think you know Jennifer, I think you know everybody else. So we just got a text from ASA SF what their position is on this, and because they're not going to be able to attend
Can
today.
you catch me quickly back up? I'm sorry, because what you're referring to.
We're just starting.
We're just starting.
Oh,
So I just read the position of, that Tony forwarded me from ASA SF, and there's only one place I kind of veer from his position. But his position is, sorry, couldn't make it. Here's ASA SF position. We oppose restrictions. Let's keep asking for the green zone review before we move forward on restrictions. We want to have Avalos persuade other supervisors to open up green zone. A good point to make is the thing we overheard again and again at the hearing, even from Excelsior Action Group, was open up the green zone. So let's focus on that, or else we're putting the cart before the horse. I'm not so sure about sending Avalos to all the other supervisors.
His attitude was very negative, I'll just say. I met with him
I
that
just
morning.
don't-
It was awful. And being somebody who held a fundraiser for him, with my boss, the mayor, and being a personal friend, it was icy, to say the least.
So,
I don't think he's gonna be our champion.
I don't think he's gonna be our champion. I have put in a request, for, Supervisor Campos to have a face-to-face with us prior to the November 5th, Board of Supervisors meeting. Before the final vote, we have a face-to-face with, Board President David Chu from our working group. One thing I'd like to kind of put in motion along with Access of Love's petition is actually doing a patient speak out and rally before the November 5th vote. So maybe November 4th when people are coming in because we'll have a lot of action out front of City Hall because they'll be voting. And I'm wondering, because at the November 5th hearing, you guys know that the public comment is closed. So we have nothing more to say before this is voted on. And so I think getting our voice out there would be really important. And getting some of the media aware of how much we oppose this. Access to Love's position is fair is fair. We want all of the dispensaries currently in the pipeline, all the collectives currently in the pipeline to be judged by the same rules. We want to see the green zone opened, obviously, but we'd like, once we get the report back from planning, to have a freeze on new permits until we give a chance for the folks that were federally shuttered to get, sort of first dibs on the green zone opening up,
you want to use
because
the word freeze though?
moratorium, whatever, so that, you know, for at least the first 6 months of any zones that will be reopened, that the dispensaries that have been basically set back arbitrarily by the federal government will sort of have first dibs.
Is there a way to do that without a moratorium?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning.
Because I know, I mean, I can just imagine Brendan and some of the, you know.
Yeah,
some-
people that wanna make money would get a little bit upset, but then
Exactly.
how you make money during that 6 months is advocating and getting your real estate agents to the people that need to get situated on the map. That's how you make your money.
I just feel
Yeah,
like it's gonna
but you know.
politically look like we're on the side of banning, and I don't wanna be on the side of banning.
No,
I know
Maybe
that,
there's some way to put it, you know,
Right.
to just have language to make them priority,
Exactly.
you know, without having a moratorium. That would scare other people.
Okay.
I just know, yeah.
it's a political thing, not a
Yeah.
policy
It
thing.
would frighten the ones who want to make money.
Yeah, I
And it's
know.
no-
But I mean, I always think of how they
I
can make
know,
money, you
but-
know, which would be these clients.
Well,
I'm
they
just
open
saying.
it up to them
No, I
first.
know,
You know.
I know. The lawyers want to make money.
Yeah, I'm not a permitting attorney, so it's not.
So she can say that.
Right.
It's not your fault.
So, I, you know, I know many who do, so.
Right, no, and I mean, the thing is, it's not, from Access to Love's perspective, it's not that we want to slow down the expansion of how many collectives can be in the city. We want there to be as many collectives in the city as there are liquor stores. We don't care if there's a collective on every corner. We support that. 'Cause
That'll
that
bring
means
the
more
prices down.
choice for us and lower prices for us, and we appreciate that.
I think for us to be able to come out and say there should be more cannabis dispensaries than liquor stores would really be a politically good move, because people are recognizing really that alcohol is toxic and bad for you and causes all kind of.
5 years or so, it's.
As long,
Big
Like
thing
gay
about,
marriage.
as long as we're not classified as in the same classification as alcohol.
Well,
Right,
yeah, we're
right,
not
we don't wanna be,
talking
you
about that.
know, right.
So the other things I've done, sort of just this morning, on behalf of all of us, is I got a chance to thank Supervisor Wiener face to face for extending the time for us to organize before the board votes on this, which was huge. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, Supervisor, myself included, were after the hearing, were like, oh, Supervisor Wiener didn't do anything for us. When I rewatched it, and I rewatched it like 3 or 4 times for a whole variety of reasons, I really understood that the man really did us a huge favor by not putting it on tomorrow.
Right.
Well, wasn't it like stuffed inside of a bill about fighting near liquor stores and then?
Right,
If
right, but the whole thing is what Avalos had wanted was to push it to be heard
Oh, yeah,
tomorrow
yeah.
so that we would have no time to organize our
Plus he said he
meeting.
didn't agree with it.
And again, I think that the language on the agenda, having no reference
Oh, it's
whatsoever
so
to
misleading.
medical
Yeah,
cannabis,
I remember
that's-
seeing, I was sitting right here that day, and
that's
this wasn't even in there, I mean,
it's
We
beyond
would have not
offensive.
known
I had to
if we
leave home
hadn't
sick,
known.
but, you know, yeah.
If we hadn't been tipped off,
Yeah.
No,
we would have not
And that was
known.
only because we had the meeting here last time, and a person came in and informed us.
Well, the whole reason that I
And we
set
didn't know about
up
that.
these meetings is we got a tip off before that as well. So that I got
So we're the
a
ones
tip
that broke the
off
story?
beforehand. I got
Somebody else
3
came in
meetings
before
set
us,
up
yeah.
so that we
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
have
Someone.
some chance here, which was very gracious of the people that have been tipping us off and saying, hey, look, you need to organize your community, and I really appreciate those folks that have done that. I think another huge thing that we need to do
A double
is,
agent.
I was trying to find out, now remember at the hearing, after public comment was closed, Supervisor Avalos added on an additional 500 feet.
I,
So,
I kind of made a smart ass remark that morning about that,
Yeah.
I might be.
no, he intended to do that.
Okay, because I, there was
Not
the
your
parting,
fault.
the parting words was, why don't you just make it 1,000 feet like the feds? And he shook his hand. So I felt
Wow.
It's not your fault.
heard that too.
It's not your fault.
Oh my God.
You did not
My mouth got me in trouble.
I heard
No, 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 no.
It's not your fault, Jennifer, at all.
Good, you deserve that. I was like, oh, You got me. Punish me for
No,
that.
no.
Good.
I think that one of the things that was very confusing about reviewing the hearing was that we didn't hear when that would be heard. So the other part and portion of prep work for this meeting that I did was going around and trying to figure out when will that be heard, because he can't have that leave committee without our public comment.
Right, yeah.
And it can't just get voted on November 5th without ever having comment, right?
That was a fun
That's wrong.
Right, yeah.
So-
That was a sneaky move.
I'm in
It's a sneaky
with
one.
I
David
really don't like it right
Tuesday.
now. Whatever he runs for, I'm supporting the other person.
He's deceptive and beyond.
Now we have until
Yeah, I really don't
vote
want him
for
to
it.
work on the green zone.
Yeah.
So like, I went in, I was talking, well, last night I started trying to figure out when that would be heard. I called the parliamentarian, they said review the tape, and right before the chair hits the gavel, they should say when the amendment will be heard. So I replayed it and replayed it and replayed it, and it did not say, I swear to God. So I got in here, I texted the board president this morning, I was working with his aide, he didn't know, and then he said, what you're gonna need to do is go and talk to Jeremy in Avalos' office, which made myself tied into a really tight knot. But I did find Jeremy, and he said that it would probably be late November, because in the middle of November, there's no land use hearing. And that he agreed to email me when it hits the agenda, so that we'll be able to hopefully kill that. So that's
Jeremy
good.
more than not.
Yeah, I agree with Jennifer. Jeremy is a member of, an alternative communities. He is
He
a
was trying to smooth
musician.
things over, you could tell that morning, and it was, yeah.
A lot of times staff, it's not their position,
No,
it's
it's
their,
not.
just their job.
This is his job, and that's his boss.
Right.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? You like health insurance and getting paid,
Right,
right?
It'd be nice.
The other thing that I did was, I texted, David Campos, personally, and I asked him to meet with our community before the November 5th vote.
That's my question to you, is what is your feel on the other supervisors?
So I think a big important thing for us to do after this meeting, and I did talk to one of Scott Wiener's aides, but the big thing that we have to do is we have to educate every supervisor, conservative, moderate, whatever. We have to educate them that what Avalos is proposing will have spillover and will affect precedent. Because there's a thing where supervisors generally try not to interfere in the politics and the neighborhood politics of another supervisor's district. It's like their etiquette.
Because they don't want to be messed up on their own.
So they're using that, but they're using, this is their main
Right, it's his
armory,
deal.
is that this is his deal. And we have to come up with the talking points of how this is going to affect a greater number. How it will set precedents basically in the language. Because what it does is, a lot of this language that they have for the CU is simply repetitive law. We already have to have community liaisons and et cetera. The only sticky wicky in here, and we already have to be closed between the hours of 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. All this is repetitive and redundant and just making it look like there's a CU when there really isn't. But here's the thing that really is the CU, and the thing that we would ask to be stricken is, in addition to the above criteria in regards to a conditional youth authorization application, the Planning Commission shall consider the existing concentrations of MCDs within the district. So they're gonna cut that out of here, and they're gonna put it in the thing, and what that does is that will shut down South of Market, that will shut down Haight, that will shut down a whole bunch of districts. It's dangerous as hell.
Uh-oh.
So my suggestion is, and then I'll shut up, is that we get a sign-on letter so that different attorneys, different patient groups, different national policy organizations, former members of the task force, can sign up for our concerns, and then we should probably have some proposed solutions that the majority of stakeholders agree on. And then I think we should set up teams to go into the different district offices. One thing I've learned is that you never want to go into an office without a constituent. So for each district, we're going to need to try to find a patient advocate in that district to come with us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, you know, they're like, well, and especially when we're trying to convince them that this has something to do with everybody, you know. It's a hard stop because people are gonna want to look the other way. It's not a third rail issue like Supervisor Avalos had said into the public, as far as third rail issue is domestic violence. During, you know, our situation in our city, people were saying things like domestic violence is a third rail issue. Really? No, and I don't think medical cannabis is either. So, but they're gonna try to kind of, you know, shut us down.
Yeah, they don't wanna deal with
They
it.
try to treat it like that, but that's not what's up.
No, I mean, my guess would be 1 out of every 6 people in this city is a legal medical cannabis user. So that by no means makes it a third rail issue. Does anybody else have any ideas of what we can do?
I just think you're right, lobbying the supervisors and seeing what they think and getting them to agree that it's going to affect them too, is one way.
What about Herrera?
The city attorney? You can't really lobby a city attorney. The city attorney
no,
is
but I
only
mean-
there for his clients, which are the district supervisors. So you can't even, like, on the 3rd floor where their offices are,
Yeah,
you can't even get in there.
He's like adverse counsel from this perspective.
Right.
You know, 'cause he's
Yeah,
representing,
protecting
he's
them.
representing their interests as his client,
Yeah.
and so we're like the adverse party to that perspective, right? I wanted to say, I thought, first of all, that you deserve enormous appreciation,
Yeah.
Shona, for what you're doing and what you've done in tracking this down and organizing this and making this basically be the opposition to what Avalos is doing. I mean, trying to shove this under. And I mean, I think that, like, if we could give a round of applause, I would do that. I think that's not appropriate in these settings, but, you know, I don't know.
I told you the other day, Brendan wanted to express his gratitude for finding out about that hearing because, you know, without you, he wouldn't have known.
Well, I think,
Or throwing his clients under the bus, so.
and that's another thing that I'm really concerned with is the way Avalos treated the Lucky Dragon,
Oh, yeah.
That was so
president.
horrible. Did you hear what I said?
I
was
was
like,
just so embarrassed. I felt like I had to go up to him and shake his hand on behalf of the city of San Francisco and
Yeah.
apologize.
Isn't there a rule against heckling?
Isn't there a rule against
From the-
interrupting somebody's
from the
public
board?
comment?
Heckling
Yeah,
in
it's so
public
funny
comment?
because I spoke right before that guy and I didn't even know who he was or anything.
Yeah.
But that's why I was so furious. I was like, I wonder how that guy, I said it, so I wonder how that guy feels right now. After he put all his livelihood, his well-being, everything into this direction he's going, he's taking his path of life or something, and bam!
And didn't he
You know, it's like,
open
what
up
is
with,
that? Like,
he has lived in the Excelsior with his family
See,
for
I didn't see, I need
Years.
to watch,
Years.
I'm gonna
Like,
pull it up.
I think
on
beyond
12
a
years.
decade.
I thought that it was the job of the supervisor to sit
And listen.
and if they have a response after the person is done speaking, they could ask a question and they
Well,
can
that
invite
just shows
response.
arrogance, I mean,
Yeah, he
and he
was
kept
totally-
saying to, the guy,
Right,
Tony,
was-
right, from ASA that morning, trust me, trust me, I'm a
Yeah.
politician, but trust me.
About as far as I can throw it.
I wanna just take
Trust
one.
me.
How far do you think I can throw you on that one? It's probably not very
Well,
far.
what was really weird is,
Well, anybody that asserts that you need to trust them and isn't, I mean, that in and of
Yeah,
itself
I mean,
is
it was
always
like,
weird,
you know, I was saying,
you know?
I was thinking of other politicians, it's like, read my lips, or.
You
I
guys
don't
are
know,
using
my
fine
name's,
words.
was, you know, describing Mr. A.
Yeah.
What was really weird is the conversation they had was about his meeting, and that how could he not know what was going on? How could he know what was going on? They didn't tell. It's their duty, right, to notify you.
They're concealing
So
it
there
right
was
here.
no
in front of the
notification
public. Yeah.
whatsoever, and the guy gets railroaded after he puts his money out on the line.
They're railroading.
Kinda, you know how hard it is to do all that? I mean, come
You
on,
must
set up a
spend 20
landlord
grand,
that's
right,
willing
on
to
a
do it.
permit, I know that's what it
I
costs,
mean-
something
Well,
like that,
I
for
mean,
that. I don't do it, but I know it's roughly $20,000 to.
Well, and then
He
you
said
have
he-
to
he
make
spent
your
over
space.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to make your space ADA accessible,
Right,
which is
right.
often another anywhere from $15 to $35 to $50,000, depending on your space. Then, if you have to get the fancy pants lawyers, it's they get more than yeah. Let's just say they can pay my rent for 3 hours. So
3 hours,
yeah,
like
Yeah.
less than that.
probably less. No, it would be actually 3 hours that they would pay my rent. So regardless of all of that, it's just I think that Access of Love's position is fair. Let the people that have already entered the process be in the same process as their comrades, you know, as the other established dispensaries, because how would anything else be fair? You know, I don't know how anything else would be fair, like why would, you know, and I asked Dorothy, who is the other attorney who was here last time and is one of the attorneys for Lucky Dragon. I said, well, can't we go to the city attorney and say, hey, you can't judge us by a different, you know, process? And because he used to be a city attorney for the city of San Francisco, he said, no, actually, they can change it all the way up to the date of the discretionary review. Like legally, you can change the rules all the way up to the point where you're standing in front of the planning commission. So
That's what I
that
don't,
sucks.
that's what I don't dig, because, like, I know if I was to open up a dispensary, all the time it would take me, all the energy, all the resources, I mean, that's a lot of stuff, you know, come on. I just don't see it, I don't see it like that, and, you know, Avalos is full of it, because he sat there and just called himself out when he answered it, or when he started questioning the guy. It was like, I mean, he threw his whole game out on the table. If nobody saw that, they're ignorant, you know?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of people, not
Well, it
just
looks
us,
like it's
not just us are
access.
looking at this as like, you know, Avalos is really screwed.
Well, I think where we're in agreement with ASF is that we think that the report should come in before putting the cart before the horse. I think where we might be veering is having Supervisor Avalos instruct the other,
Don't trust him to do anything for you.
But
people
the
to
assessor
open up.
neighborhood is special.
No, it isn't.
I mean, I live in District 6, let me tell you,
Right.
they couldn't deal with, like one of my, a street of my neighborhood in their area, they would be completely devastated, or they'd have to move.
And see, we haven't got a single dispensary in our district. We have got a single dispensary in our district.
I know,
Not
they
one.
just got all
You
shut
were
down.
District
I'm
6?
district, yeah, 6.
They all
So
just
you're
got shut
District
down.
6, you're District
Trinity.
6?
Yeah, Divinity.
They're not there anymore.
There you
We
go,
have,
we've got our team for Jane Kim's
And,
office.
yeah, I was already planning on going to see her.
Because if you guys are all District 6, then you are the ones that need